I'm proud to be a Bahamian. It means something to be a Bahamian. But we have been left, we've gone to being lethargic, we're complacent, we defy law and order, there's no respect among us. Hey, and for just a couple of people,
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
Coming up in the news, the nation's chief takes over the leadership of CARICOM. Also, 25% of the labor force set to receive pay raises this month as the minimum wage increases. And the New Year's Day Junkanoo parade is in the history books, but who captured the winning title? The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Rule-Parkinson. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topic news tonight, January 1st, 2023, marked the transition of CARICOM's leadership, which is now chaired by Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis. The Caribbean Community, or CARICOM, is a grouping of 20 countries, 15 member states, and 5 associate members. It is also home to approximately 16 million citizens. Well, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Minister for Public Service calling a meeting with members of the media today to provide insight on the themes for the Prime Minister's chairmanship. Our Ramiko Knowles has tonight's top story.
The Prime Minister's tenure as leader of CARICOM began on January 1st. The President of Suriname handed over the 6-month rotational chairmanship. The Honorable Fred Mitchell, Minister of Foreign Affairs, commending the Prime Minister on his new role, noting that it is an important position that he has assumed.
This is a very important regional and world position. There's no question that our Prime Minister is able and fit and up to the task. And I'm sure that in the 6 months that the community is under his chairmanship, it will grow from strength to strength. And when you look at the statement which was issued by CARICOM, you will see that many of the themes that began in the period from July of last year to the 1st of January will continue during the chairmanship of the Bahamas.
Similar to the Bahamas, CARICOM is commemorating its 50th anniversary, and celebrations are anticipated to begin in the capital in February with a meeting that the Prime Minister would preside over. Mitchell discusses some of the themes of the meeting, including advocating for debt relief and reform of international financial institution.
And amongst the themes, if you see from the announcement which was made by CARICOM, will be the fact that we are both celebrating the 50th anniversaries of our founding, and to increase the issue of regional cooperation on the COVID pandemic, which we're still suffering from, the question of climate change, renewable energy, advocacy by small island and low island coastal developing states, and the issues related to climate change.
CARICOM is based on 4 principles: security, foreign policy coordination, human and social development, and economic integration. According to Mitchell, the relationship and its membership are crucial to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas' foreign policy.
But as the world looks at us as a region, we have pledged ourselves to cooperate one country with the next, with all countries, to see whether we can act in concert, because acting in concert, we find on the international stage we are more effective.
For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Ramiko Knowles.
Thank you, Ramiko. Well, in other news, the island of Grand Bahama is beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to the local airport. 3 years after the Grand Bahama International Airport and domestic terminal was left in a dilapidated state due to Hurricane Dorian, the government is now moving swiftly to renovate the terminal. A rededication ceremony taking place yesterday to mark the enrollment of flight services for Sunwing International. Jolanda Thompson was there and she filed this report.
Rolling into the new year as the Grand Bahama Domestic Airport has now been renovated following the devastated Hurricane Dorian. The rededication and blessing of the terminal on Monday serves as the official opening and gateway to the island's tourism and economic development to begin. The $1.2 million investment into renovations was contracted by United Orca Construction Company, remodeling the airport with fresh new paint, marble tiles, and concrete walls. After months of reconstruction, a brief rededication ceremony by Pastor Kenneth Lewis took place, followed by a blessing of the premises. Bringing remarks was the Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, the Honorable I. Chester Cooper, who says since coming into office, one of his duties was to put Grand Bahama on the map after the island was depressed for so many years.
One of the keys to that is tourism. And there have been ups and some downs, but we have remained as steadfast and unflagging as the people of Grand Bahama, who epitomizes resilience. Grand Bahama herself has a great product, but the entryways and the accommodations need to be in place to truly make Grand Bahama shine as one of our finest destinations. In addition to upgrading this terminal, it pleases me to tell you that since the formation of the Freeport Airport Development Company, we have made significant progress on the redevelopment of the international airport.
In addition to upgrading the terminal, the Ministry of Tourism projected that new airlift is possibly on the horizon.
Coming from Atlanta, Tampa, and Italy. More to come on that. We have the evidence, and we see no sign of slowing down. We have new developments, and we're working every day to tell the world about Grand Bahama and to direct them here as one of our 15 magnificent island destinations.
Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, describing that the rededication and blessing of the terminal brings Grand Bahama one step closer to normalcy.
The road to recovery from the devastation caused by that monster storm has been a long journey for the residents of our island. When we assumed office in September 2021, this Davis Cooper administration immediately began working to find solutions to several priority matters, the airport being one. The refurbishment of this terminal is a step in the right direction. It illustrates progress. And as we all know, this airport is a key component in the recovery and rebuilding of Grand Bahama's economy, and as a gateway to the island for residents and visitors alike.
Due to an influx of flight services from Sunwing International, Sunwing will be the airline to occupy space from the domestic airport. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Jolanda Thompson, Everest.
Well, about 25% of the labor force set to receive pay raises this month after a 3-month wait following government's announcement of a proposed increase to minimum wage last October. Our Raven Davis spoke with Labor Director Robert Farquharson for an update on this matter, and he says no adverse reports have reached his desk so far. Here's that report.
The proposed increase to the country's minimum wage officially materializing just days ago.
A video recently circulating on social media showing an Abaco resident discovering a new shantytown area on the island. This comes just months after Immigration Minister Keith Bell pledged his ministry's commitment to crack down on shantytowns in the Family Islands, specifically Abaco, where it was revealed that one community had grown to about 200 acres.
Oh, this was strange land. These fellas are building beautiful house, big house. And every time one of these Haitians build a house, they build a house for another Haitian, but they ain't reached yet.
We posed the issue to Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell today, who's of the opinion that the country will remain attractive to immigrants for many reasons.
Illegal immigration is going to be a difficult problem for the Bahamas when you're 100 years old and you're several years younger than I am. So that's because this is a wealthy country, and the country is a wealthy country next to a poor country. We have a country that has a deficit of labor. And so long as our economy is better than our neighbor to the south, and so long as there's this deficit of labor, there's going to be an attraction for this labor to come here.
Mitchell noting that the Bahamas is usually just a pit stop in an immigrant's voyage from Haiti to the United States.
The best governments can do is manage the problem. And right now, there are serious economic and political issues in Haiti which are driving the exodus, and there is a severe shortage of labor in the United States. So that's the attraction, and we're just in the middle.
Last year, it was announced that the Bahamas government was in discussions with CARICOM leaders to send Bahamian troops into Haiti to help with the country's crisis. The announcement was met with some criticism, as some Bahamians believe that the government should be focused on its own country first. When asked his thoughts on this, the former immigration minister had this to say.
The issue is they're intervening in our affairs. So we have no choice but to defend ourselves. And of course, the best defense is offense. And so that is the situation with both the Turks and Caicos Islands, with Cuba, and with Haiti, all of our neighbors, and the United States of America for that matter.
The Foreign Affairs Minister assures that the government is still committed to protecting the Bahamian borders from immigrants and putting a dent in the construction of shantytowns wherever they exist. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Simone Davis.
Well, of course, we do apologize. That was a story on another illegal community that was allegedly discovered by a resident yesterday, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs' take on that matter. Well, as reported earlier, about 25% of the labor force set to receive pay raises this month after a 3-month wait following government's announcement of a proposed increase to minimum wage last October. Our Raven Davis spoke with the Labor Director, Robert Parkinson.
The proposed increase to the country's minimum wage officially materializing just days ago on January 1, 2023. Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis announced during his first national address last October that weekly wages would be bumped from $210 up to $260. For the public sector, the increase is retroactive to July 2022. The announcement arousing polarizing views from members of the public. However, Labor Director Robert Farquharson says from his vantage point, it's so far so good.
We know that the minimum wage order has been produced by the Office of the Attorney General. We know that it's been distributed throughout the industry, and it all appears to be well.
It is the second time in about 2 decades that government raised the minimum wage, the last happening in 2015 from $150 to $210. Now, amid concerns that these pay rises could result in layoffs or even stunt hirings, Farquharson dispelled that notion, saying that history has proven otherwise.
What happened after the minimum wage increase in 2015, we saw a significant increase in employment. We saw the economy bounce back, and there were very little or to no layoffs as a result of the increase in minimum wage. And it happened primarily because those men and women who will be the recipient of an increase in wages because of minimum wage, they turn around and they use that same increase, they spend it back and they put it back in the economy.
Now, for those employers found in breach of the law, he says the law makes provisions for those failing to adhere to the minimum wage order.
There are some consequences in there. We want to strongly recommend to those employees who does not receive the benefit of the minimum wage to try and reach out to the employer and find out exactly why.
Suspecting that employers have had a rather reasonable amount of time to prepare for the adjustments, he says this increase will prove to be of great benefit.
I believe the majority of them will make the adjustment. And I believe there will be a smooth transition. We believe it is good for the economy. We believe it's a stepping stone toward a livable wage. We believe it will help those men and women in the labor market who need this wage.
Now there is a workforce of over 214,000 people as of last year. The increase will likely impact approximately 25% of the labor force. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Raven Davis.
Thanks, Raven. Well, in news from the crime beat, police on the island of Bimini are questioning a 22-year-old man of Allenstown, Bimini, in connection with a recent shooting incident. Preliminary reports revealed that shortly before 11 p.m. on Monday, January 2nd, while at a local nightclub in Allenstown, Bimini, he was shot in the face by another man known to him. The 26-year-old victim, a resident of Kings Highway, Bimini, was transported to the local clinic and later airlifted to New Providence, where he is detained in serious condition. Police continue to investigate. In just a moment.
Santa baby, I want a yacht and 2 pretty lots with docks in Princess Isle, that's the spot. Santa baby, a Mercedes convertible too, light blue, part Spanish May number 2. Santa baby, and hurry down to James Charles Realty. Come and trim my Christmas tree with the penthouse key that's only meant for me. Santa baby, an office building right on the mall. That's all. And hurry down to James Charles Realty.
Someone take my bag. Someone take my bag. Call the police. Someone took my bag. Someone took my bag. I leave the car for 1 quick second and someone take my bag.
Crime prevention should be everyone's business. Therefore, we want to remind you not to leave your bags or valuables visibly seen on the seat of your vehicle unattended. This negligent practice will create an opportunity for a criminal to commit a crime. Please desist from such practices.
This message is brought to you by the Royal Bahamas Police Force, creating safer communities. Your #1 news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Welcome back. The 2023 Junkanoo Parade is now in the history books as 9 groups rushed down Pioneers Way last evening. Well, from vibrant colors to pulsating sounds, the groups all showed up, and they certainly showed out. Our ZNS News team covered the event live, and our Asher Quant has the recap.
I will now declare the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture Grand Bahama New Year's Parade officially open.
The Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, the Honorable Mario Bolag, declaring the 2023 New Year's Day Junkanoo Parade officially open. 9 groups back on the parade route for a full-scale parade, the first time in 3 years. 4 A Division and 4 B Division, and 1 fun group, taking pioneers away by storm before one of the largest crowd attendance for a Grand Bahama Parade in years. First out the gate with the theme, It Is What It Is, Sting presenting through the song the inspiration to move on regardless of what is going on around you, and recognizing that you can't stop change, but everything in life changes. The first A Division group, Swingers, swinging the crowd with its good music as the dancers leaving it all on the route, especially during the second lap, trekking down the boulevard with their gospel theme, To God Be the Glory, We Give Him Thanks and Praise. The music carrying the old school gospel as the beginning of the group starting with the banner depicting the Lord's altar and ending with their lead costume depicting the scripture verse Isaiah 54 and 17. The next group out of the gate, Showtime, leaving it all behind during Showtime and taking spectators at the parade through the wonders of sea, from mermaids to a variety of underwater animals. The group also paying homage to its founder, Terry Walgoose, who passed away in 2021. And next came the superstar rockers who rocked the crowd with Keeping It Under the Sea. The theme, Myths of the Deep Blue Sea. The group, known for its dance and costume, did not disappoint. The banner displaying Poseidon's chariot, their dancers, warrior princesses of the deep, and their backline guarding as the queen's guards of the deep. But it was the Woman Dam who was a crowd pleaser, as prominent members of the community, Rotarians, and the Woman Dam came out as a fun group. The group showing up with glitz and glamour, celebrating and recognizing some of the most successful and accomplished women in various professions in the country. Also joining them, WNBA star Jonquil Jones. Next up, classic dancers were classically back. This is the first time the classic dancers competed since 2018, and they showed spectators just why they remain a fan favorite. Under the theme, Fire TV, they're off the shoulder showcasing Paw Patrol for the kids, and their dancers reminding the 90s babies about the Drumline movie. Four-time defending champions, the Platinum Knights, were exactly what the crowd was waiting for. A Division group to rush out of the gate under the theme, Cheers to 10 years, Drinks on Us. Well, they said the drinks were on them, and they sure delivered. From the party train with various liquor brands, to their bar girl dancers, and to the music, topping it off with Grand Bahama's very own Sans Bear with the Man in the Boat. And last, but certainly not least, the final B Division group, Kingdom Ambassador Spartans, reminding the Bahamas to look what God has brought us through, from the banner depicting some of what the country has went through to Restoration of Hope. And in addition to the groups, there were scores of spectators out enjoying the night of fun at the 2023 Junkanoo Parade. So now the question is, after a 2-year hiatus, who will capture the 2023 New Year's Day Junkanoo title? We await the judge's decision. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Azure Quant.
Thank you, Asher, for that wonderful recap. Well, the results are expected to be announced at 7 p.m. Be sure to join us on our ZNS Northern Service page, and that, again, is at 7 p.m. tonight. Well, in the aftermath of the 2023 New Year's Day Junkanoo Parade, the Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, the Honorable Mario Boleg, shares his thoughts on what is being called the show of shows. The minister says he was more than impressed with the performances the groups put on, and he was also thrilled at the fans showing up in large numbers.
I was very impressed with the groups. This was my first time seeing Junkanoo in person in Grand Bahama. And, and I've watched the A groups. I know also the B groups. They're proud to be real Junkanoos who know what they're doing. And costumes were built nice, decorated. They performed well. What also was very impressive was the amount of person that came out to watch Junkanoo here in Grand Bahama. And I think this is probably the largest crowd I was told I've ever seen watching Junkanoo in Grand Bahama.
Now with the focus now shifting to the upcoming Junior Junkanoo Parade, Bolek says he hopes that everyone shows the same level of enthusiasm.
Junior Junkanoo in New Providence, I know, is on the 26th. I don't know when Junior Junkanoo is going to be here in Grand Bahama, but I know it is scheduled. I think it may be sometime in February, but I have to confirm those dates. But we want Grand Bahamians to give the youngsters the same support that they would have given the adults when it comes to Junkanoo. And we're looking forward to the new method that we are putting in place with Junior Junkanoo, where each island will have its own Junior Junkanoo, and then the best of the rest will come together next year, January, in New Providence, where we'll have the overall Junior Junkanoo in New Providence with the best from each island.
Well, there you have it, and that is going to do it for news here. Here's a check on sports, though, with our Jay Philippe.
Good evening, I'm Jay Philippe, and welcome to yet another exciting edition of sports right here in the North. In college basketball, a number of athletes from Grand Bahama will be in action this week, but let's begin with track and field. Kaylin Hewitt is preparing for the upcoming track and field season. The female sprinter attends Cumberland University in Lebanon, Tennessee.
We do a lot of grass training. We just went on the track, and we have a lot of guys doing 21, 20 seconds, a lot of girls running 11, 6, 11, 7. It's a family. It's a family, and I really enjoy practicing with them, because not only that they help you with your training, whatever you lacking on, they also encourage you with schoolwork. The coaches are very loving and caring, so it's just like a whole family. And working up to our season, my first track meet is in January 7th. It's gonna be good, especially if I had like almost 2 years off with track and field due to my injury, but I'm coming back. I'm running faster times, and now I'm working on building up my knee, strengthening my knee, my core mostly, and y'all should see me running 11.6 soon.
The sophomore standout began her track career at Colby Community College, but now she's looking ahead.
I want to put my name, my family name on the map, and I want to put the Bahamas on the map as well. You know, it's a small country. Sean Adam doing it big. Baseball doing it big. Basketball, you have everybody. The small islands are winning now, so it's easier for us to get recognized now. So I advise all the young athletes coming up, do your best. Stay away from friends that alcohol, drugs, and everything. Just be you and know what you're going for. Know yourself, and don't follow friends, because friends only can have you in two places, and that ain't where you want to be.
Cumberlands will compete at the Tennessee State University Air Temple Invitational this coming weekend. Switching gears now in high school hoops, the Tabernacle Falcons lost its final game at the Arby's Classic to Tennessee High, 59-40. The Falcons finished the tournament with a 2-1 overall record. Sticking with hoops now at the college level, a number of Grand Bahamians expected to suit up this week for their various teams. Franco Miller and his FGCU Eagles will take on Austin Peay Thursday, January 5th. Freshman Ramad Dane playing at Fordham University will match up against Rhode Island January 4th. Ahmad Harvey, now playing at High Point University, will battle against UNC Asheville on January 4th as well. And graduate guard Edril Martinborough, playing at Evangel University, will take on Missouri Valley in their next contest. And that's a quick check on sports, ladies and gents. I'm Jay Philippe. Be blessed.
The coconut got this, cocoa skin dripping madness, juiciness ice to buy this, sweet like a sugar in a dripping like ice honey, addict, all of my love me, sweet like a sugar in a watch it go ba ba ba, 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 sweet like a sugar in a
new Click Platinum flavor, flavored beers with a kick of rum, make it platinum.
Athletes across the northern Bahamas inspire us with their performances on and off the field. ZNS is proud to honor these competitors with our Athlete of the Month award. We will select an athlete whose story and accomplishments represents the best in their sporting discipline. Tune in to find out who will be the Athlete of the Month.
Will an athlete be you?
Athlete of the Month is brought to you by Buddy Buckets. Buddy Buckets, you call the shots.
The king
King of the North is back. Power 104.5 FM.
Your number one news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
A very special happy birthday to Siobhan McIntosh Higgs. Hope you are enjoying your special birthday. And once again, the Junkanoo results will be announced at 7 p.m. Be sure to join us on our ZNS Northern Service Facebook page. And that's going to do it for us here in the North. On behalf of the entire ZNS News team, I'm Shoshana Roll-Farquharson. The Bahamas Tonight continues.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, the national report, COVID-19 cases on the rise again. Airport officials addressing recent holiday flight delays. Here, former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried's court plea. And in sports, Bahamas basketball moves up in FIBA rankings. The Bahamas Tonight, the national report, starts after this.
ZNS News is linked up by BTC. Whether it's chatting, gaming, content creating, or working smart to get things done, link up to stay connected with BTC.
Happy New Year. Welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the national report. Good evening. I'm Desmond Saunders. Health officials are keeping a vigilant eye on rising COVID-19 cases and making changes to ensure patient safety in hospital. Cleopatra Murphy has the details on why the Minister of Health says the return of some health measures can never be ruled out.
18 patients are currently hospitalized at the Princess Margaret Hospital with COVID-19, and one patient is detained in the intensive care unit. Minister of Health and Wellness, the Honorable Dr. Michael Darville, has confirmed that due to hospital-related exposures, health officials have reinstated precautionary measures, highlighting the need to protect tertiary healthcare institutions.
You might have noticed that as a result of the case in the ICU, the Public Hospital Authority had to tighten our grips to limit the amount of visitors and the time spent with visitors at the ICU and the hospitals. This is all a part of our strategy to try to mitigate the effect of COVID-19.
Visitors have been limited to 2 per patient for 15 minutes. That's also the same for the neonatal intensive care unit. The Minister of Health maintains the virus never left and assures officials are able to handle the current increase in cases. He also dismissed social media claims that the ministry has confirmed the presence of the Omicron XBB 1.5 variant in the Bahamas that has led to a surge in COVID-19 infections in the U.S.
We have not gotten any report that the new variant is here. I suspect, like when the Omicron variant arrived in the Bahamas, the confirmation took a few weeks and a few months to determine. But for us at the Ministry of Health and Wellness, our job is to be ready for any situation. We are operating as if it is in country, even though we may not have a verification at this time. Samples are usually sent to Panama and Brazil for confirmation with gene sequencing. And we're watching what's going on internationally.
That includes keeping a watchful eye on the country's borders, with Darville noting that a record number of visitors came to the Bahamas over the holidays.
This is good for our economy. And at the Ministry of Health, it is our responsibility to mitigate the risk as it relates to COVID-19 and the economy. I believe that we have done a relatively good job at this particular point. And with all of our technical team, we will continue to do what we do at the ministry and to assure the Bahamian people that our job is to notify them anytime there is an incident that we believe it is worth reporting. And we're looking at it. We're watching what is happening with the Pan American Health Organization. One of the things we must be mindful is when we begin to isolate a particular group of individuals and demand testing for one group versus the other. That is something we're concerned about, but we're mindful to do what is in the best interest of the Bahamian people. At this particular point, we have not made that decision. I do not know if that'll change before the end of the week or next week, but as far as it is today, that is not our plan at this point.
Darville believes there's always a possibility that masks and other preventive protocols may need to be reintroduced at some point. But for now, he says the situation remains fluid. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Cleopatra Murphy.
Cleopatra Murphy on the story tonight. Major upgrades underway at the Princess Margaret Hospital. Some $2.5 million infrastructural improvements are almost complete. And the Minister of Health and Wellness, Honorable Dr. Michael Darville, says construction crews have been working down to the wire throughout the Christmas holiday on what was supposed to be a 14-week renovation of several wards. Work began early December last year.
We are currently in the process of renovating male medical 2, female surgical 1, the basement of the eye ward. All of these projects are ongoing. And sometime tomorrow, we will be in Grand Bahama, where we will issue some contracts as it relates to the modular units that have been sitting in Grand Bahama. These modular units was purchased a few months ago. They are a bit late, but it has to do with logistics around the world. These are hurricane-resistant units. They are prefabricated. They will give additional space to the accident emergency. They would also be able to do a better job for COVID management at the Rand Memorial Hospital and the Princess Margaret Hospital. So I'm pleased to report to the Bahamian people that we are on target.
Once the renovations are complete, residents can expect improved quality healthcare treatment and services. Meantime, some Princess Margaret Hospital patients have been transferred to Doctors Hospital Healthcare Facility.
I was at the hospital yesterday looking at the work, and I must say that our contractors are working night and day to meet the deadline along with the elevator team to replace that particular elevator that has been out of service for some time. So it's good news. We believe that this is the only way to get the renovations done. It's very difficult to renovate wards with patients on the wards. You have to move them, you have to disassemble, you have to do demolition, and then you need to come behind and get it done right without putting our patients and staff at risk.
A greater focus on regional cooperation, part of the agenda of the CARICOM Heads of Government meeting scheduled for this February here in the Bahamas. The overview coming as Minister of Foreign Affairs Honorable Frederick Mitchell addressed members of the press over Zoom, noting that the Caribbean community membership is both central to foreign policy and important on a global stage. Now, during the assembly, Dame Janet Bostwick is also expected to receive the CARICOM Triennial Award for Women. The two-day conclave is scheduled for February 16th through 18th, with Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis as chair.
Amongst the themes, if you see from the announcement which was made by CARICOM, will be the fact that we are both celebrating the 50th anniversaries of our founding, and to increase the issue of regional cooperation on the COVID pandemic, which we're still suffering from, the question of climate change, renewable energy, advocacy by small island and low island coastal developing states.
Government heads also set to address challenged territories in the region.
Now, one of the challenges in our region, of course, will be Haiti, and the Bahamas, being the closest neighbor to Haiti, has been engaged with the developed countries, largely the United States, Canada, and the EU, on trying to determine the way forward in Haiti, and of course with the Haitian government itself. The statement from the Prime Minister at becoming the chair says that the beleaguered people of Haiti desperately need respite from the political, economic, and security crises which have engulfed the country, and we will continue to support all stakeholders to craft a Haitian-led solution. And for CARICOM, the resolution of the immediate crisis will be a first step towards the crafting of a long-term sustainable development plan for Haiti.
Last year proved to be the largest year for repatriations for a long time, with Minister of Labor and Immigration, the Honorable Keith Bell, revealing that up to Christmas Day, illegal migrants were being repatriated, while additional exercises were carried out today and more is scheduled tomorrow. In August, Commodore of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force Raymond King revealed that repatriation stood at 2,250, a number exceeded combined figures for the last 3 years. Bell, who says an additional 30 Cubans were repatriated on New Year's Day, was able to share the number of illegal migrants being detained.
There is a total of 345 persons in the detention center, the majority being females, 274 females, 143 males, and a number of other persons who are in the safe house. And as you would appreciate, the children, they're in the safe house along with their some next of kin. In addition to that, we would have had 198 Cubans, which make up those numbers in the detention center. And so it is obviously a concern for us. And you'd have seen up to yesterday, I think, a cruise ship intercepted a Cuban vessel. And also we know some landed in Key West, Florida. And so we are continuing to monitor the excessive migration from both Haiti and Cuba. And we are working to ensure that we have timely repatriations.
Now, the immigration minister says repatriations can only occur when an individual's home country agrees to take them, adding that the number of migrants making their way to the Bahamas usually increases from November onward. Ball further anticipates the country will continue to see an influx of migrants from Haiti and Cuba, but says ultimately officials are focused on protecting Bahamian borders and will move to repatriate illegal migrants as soon as possible.
I also want to send a plea out to our fishermen who are out there, that if you see these vessels, that please call the law enforcement agents so we're able to intercept to make sure that nobody gets through. And I want to indicate too that in the past week we would have put 61 Cubans before our courts. They would have been put before the courts, sentenced, and they would have been ordered to be deported from the country. And so there is a lot going on. I'm satisfied, and I want to commend all of our law enforcement partners for the work that they're doing, including the U.S. Coast Guard, who are out there intercepting these people. And I ask the Bahamian people to continue to pray for the people in Cuba and Haiti as those countries go through very, very serious crises.
Could more people be joining the unemployment line? Well, the Minister of Labor is weighing in after a group of employers recently shared that as much as 25% of their staff could lose their jobs. Cleopatra Murphy has more.
Be cautious before taking any draconian action with regards to layoffs. That is the advice Minister of Labor and Immigration, the Honorable Keith Bell, is giving employers, namely the Bahamas Petroleum Dealers Association, after Vice President Vasco Bastian recently shared that a sizable portion of its membership was prepared to lay off staff in response to the minimum wage increase set to take effect this month.
I would wish to indicate to the petroleum dealers to exercise a degree of restraint and caution and not be swift of any sort of action. The reality is that we live in a country where nobody should be living below the poverty line.
Despite the warning by the association that the layoffs could have happened as soon as January 1st, Bell says he never heard anything from the association. Instead, the minister says he is pleased the Davis administration has been able to institute an increase in the minimum wage because it was a campaign promise. The increase will see the minimum wage increase from $210 a week to $260 a week.
We were in government for more than a year before we introduced this increase. And so we would have given everybody an opportunity, the employers that is, an opportunity to prepare themselves for the increase in minimum wage. And again, we are about to start the discussion on a livable wage so that not just the petroleum dealers, but everyone, all of the employers and everyone would be in a position to know what to expect in the future so that it isn't ad hoc, it isn't haphazard, it isn't something which is planned or something which is thrust upon them, but there is an expectation that everybody would know that there would be an increase in wages as we proceed, as we go forward.
Director of Labor Robert Fackerson previously told ZNS News that despite employer pushback, when the minimum wage was increased in 2015, employment increased. As for the possibility of mass layoffs this time, Bell had this response.
I'm satisfied that there won't be sweeping layoffs. The National Tripartite Council and the Department of Labor would have engaged in extensive discussions with all the key stakeholders in the country, and they would have met with them, they would have consulted with them, they would have heard, they would have gotten their views. And even though, as I would have indicated when I did my communication in Parliament, that there wasn't consensus on what the amount of the minimum wage should increase to, everybody know that there was going to be an increase. And we knew that even when we spoke, that it would have taken effect this year.
As many as 60,000 workers are set to benefit from the wage hike. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Cleopatra Murphy.
You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. There's more after this.
The news was brought to you by Sun Oil Limited Shell, fueling journeys that matter.
We are a leading Bahamian bank, one of the largest publicly traded companies on BISIX. Our measure of strength is our growth and performance, with over $1.7 billion in assets. We remain committed to serving the interests of our shareholders, staff, clients, and communities. The confidence to lead, the performance to remain. We are Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
This Christmas season, stream with faster speeds. The unforgettable things we all have to see. Share every memory. Link up for Christmas. Link up with BTC. We are family.
BTC will make this festive season fun and fast with BTC's fiber internet. Sign up and BTC will give you 1 month free or go postpaid and get unlimited Facebook and WhatsApp.
Link up for Christmas. Link up with BTC.
Christmas coming here is all around. Christmas back in town. Christmas coming here is all around.
Christmas is coming, and your fingers know it.
Christmas back in town. Christmas back in town. Christmas back in town. Oh yeah, I can feel Christmas back in town.
For a finger-licking good Christmas. KFC.
Back in town.
Officials at the Nassau Airport Development Company addressing concerns over flight delays at the Lyndon Pending International Airport, which resulted in some passengers being stranded on the New Year's Day holiday Monday. Vice President of Operations at NAD, Jonathan Hanna.
As expected, with both heavy air traffic and passenger volumes, the day after New Year's is typically one of, if not the busiest day that we have at the airport, and so this is quite typical for this time of year. We had a few extenuating circumstances today, particularly with airspace saturation, which is where we have an extremely large volume of air traffic within the airspace. And so, it's not uncommon to have some delays during this time. But it was all hands on deck. As always, it's a true collaborative approach that we have between all airport partners, as it has been for the entire holiday season. And so we've continued to work hard to keep people and air traffic moving as safely and as efficiently as possible during this time.
The Ministry of Tourism issuing a statement today relating to the long flight delays at the Lyndon Pending International Airport on the New Year's Day holiday Monday. According to the release, flight delays yesterday were attributed to air traffic control issues with the en route automation modernization system at the Miami Air Route Traffic Control Center, which is responsible for operating airspace for commercial flights over Florida and parts of the Bahamas. The statement further indicated that although the issue was resolved by late afternoon, it resulted in significant airline traffic congestion, flight delays, and in some cases, missed flights and connections. Director of Aviation, Dr. Kenneth Romer, noted that the delays came during the traditionally busy New Year's Day holiday peak travel period, where Nassau air traffic controllers managed almost 700 flight movements at LPIA during this single day. Romer applauded all airport stakeholders for their invaluable contributions to traffic management and apologized to international and domestic passengers for any disruption to their travel caused by the delays. Well, the world's largest international airline has secured an agreement with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to promote tourism here. The Memorandum of Understanding was recently signed by Emirates Group Chairman and Chief Executive and Bahamas Ambassador to the United Arab Emirates and Qatar, His Excellency Tony Jody, at the Emirates Group headquarters in Dubai. The agreement gives Emirates Airlines and the Ministry of Tourism the green light to boost visitor traffic into the islands from the airline's key markets, particularly through their partnerships with United and Air Canada. The agreement will also comprise marketing activities, including media and trade familiarization trips in the first quarter of 2023, and the development of tailor-made tour packages. Emirates currently flies to 12 cities in the United States, in addition to Toronto, Canada. Well, executives at the Nassau Cruise Port are embracing for a high traffic year. With investments in marine infrastructure, officials seeing an increase in the number of cruise passengers visiting Bahamian shores in recent months. Here's Anthony Smith.
A record-breaking year ahead for the Nassau Cruise Port.
We will beat 2019, considerably beat 2019 in terms of both ship calls and passenger counts. And then 2024 is just off the charts.
A fact underpinned by the Capital Cruise Hub's stellar performance in 2022, welcoming last year the largest number of passengers in Prince George Wharf history. That's 25,000 plus in a single day, topping off the year with a whopping 410,000 passengers in December alone.
We finished 2022 at just over 3.2 million passengers. And again, we did 3.85 million in 2019, but we did have this slow ramp up beginning in January of 2022. And so that puts us at about 17% under the 2019 record level. But still phenomenal.
The stellar stats embraced by Nassau Cruise Port CEO and Director Mike Mora comes as the cruise port welcomed just over 400 ships in 2021, the year COVID-19 all but brought the industry to a halt. Now rapidly recovering, industry execs are looking to recreate the magic of 2022 this year. Though thanks to a few new variants early on, it hadn't all been smooth sailing.
So it took our occupancy numbers down to 45%. So we actually, 2022, we saw the lowest at 45%. In February was at 54%. By June, we had hit 102%. And then we finished December at 104%. So our average occupancy for 2022 was 86%. And that's 86% of double berths on the ships.
Just over 20% shy of the occupancy levels recorded in 2019. It appears, though, that those numbers will soon be outdone. Thanks to the expansion of existing piers and the construction of a new berth, the cruise port is expected to see a larger number of cruise calls this year.
Pre-construction, Nassau Prince George Wharf would have, received, a maximum of 20,000 passengers. Following the investments and the improvements that we've made to, again, this pier infrastructure that we have here, that number well exceeds 30,000. So we've added a 50% increase in our passenger capacity in a single day.
The Nassau Cruise Port Waterfront Improvement Project is set to be unveiled at the end of May 2023. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Anthony Smith.
The Securities Commission of the Bahamas issuing a statement overnight denying allegations that it directed FTX to mint $300 million tokens prior to the collapse of the cryptocurrency exchange. The commission also branded as unfounded allegations from the chief executive officer of FTX, John J. Ray III, claiming that the commission gave instructions to mint tokens. According to the commission, on December 30th of last year, the Chapter 11 debtors publicly challenged its calculations on the digital assets which were transferred to digital wallets controlled by the commission November 12th of last year for safekeeping. The commission also indicated, among other things, that public assertions made by Chapter 11 debtors were based on misinformation, noting that U.S. debtors' continued lack of diligence when making public statements concerning the commission is disappointing and reflects a cavalier attitude towards the truth and towards the Bahamas. Embattled FTX founder and former CEO Sam Bankman-Fried pleaded not guilty in New York federal court Tuesday to 8 charges related to the collapse of his former crypto exchange, FTX, and hedge fund, Alameda Research. The one-time crypto billionaire was indicted on charges of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and securities fraud, individual charges of securities fraud and wire fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to avoid campaign finance regulations. Earlier in the day, attorneys for Bankman-Fried filed a motion to seal the names of 2 individuals who had guaranteed Bankman-Fried's good behavior with a bond. Judge Lewis Kaplan approved the motion in court today. The motion argued that the visibility of the case and the defendant had already posed a risk to Bankman-Fried's parents and that the guarantors should not be subject to the same scrutiny. Federal prosecutors also announced the launch of a new task force to recover victim assets as part of an ongoing investigation into Bankman-Fried and the collapse of FTX. His not guilty plea paves a way for a lengthy trial, which, according to international reports, could span several weeks and not start for at least a year. Bankman-Fried's former associates, Gary Wang and co-founder of FTX, and Carolyn Allison, who ran Alameda Research, have already pleaded guilty to fraud charges and are cooperating with prosecutors in a bid for leniency. Other news for you tonight, the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council will hear arguments this month on the controversial citizenship case. The main issue is whether the Bahamas Constitution confers citizenship at birth on a person born in the Bahamas who is a child of an unmarried Mormon woman and a Bahamian man. The respondents in the case claim that their biological fathers are Bahamian, but their mothers aren't. Further, that their parents were not married at the dates of their births. They sought declarations from the Bahamas Supreme Court that they are entitled to Bahamian citizenship under Article 6 of the Constitution. However, the Attorney General disputes certain facts in the respondents' claims for citizenship. The Supreme Court decided to determine first whether the respondents would have citizenship as a matter of law, but the final determination of the claims was adjourned to allow for any appeal on the legal issue. The Supreme Court then found that a person born in the Bahamas is entitled to citizenship at birth if either of the biological parents held citizenship, regardless of their parents' marital status. The appellate court also dismissed the AG's appeal and upheld the Supreme Court's decision, prompting the appeal, which would be heard January 17th. Well, a juvenile male has been recorded as the capital's first traffic fatality for the year. Police confirming the incident happened shortly before 9 o'clock yesterday morning when the driver of the black Ford Explorer was traveling east along Bernard Road, and the driver of the burgundy Suzuki Alto, accompanied by a front seat passenger, was traveling west along Bernard Road when the cars collided. Now, both vehicles were extensively damaged and resulted in the jaws of life being utilized to free the injured, who were all seriously injured. Emergency personnel transported the victims to hospital, where the juvenile male died to injuries shortly after 9 o'clock Monday night. The driver of the black Ford Explorer was treated and discharged, while the driver of the Suzuki Alto remains in hospital in serious but stable condition. Active investigation continues. That time now for a weekly poll question, and this week we're asking, do you make New Year's resolutions? Yes or no? That's all it takes. To participate, simply log on to our website at www.znsbahamas.com, as well as any of our social media platforms to answer. The poll's final results will be aired on Friday. As always, thanks for participating.
You can find it all at Builders Mall. From cement, lumber, block, plumbing, and electrical to paint, lights, vanities, and tiles. Not to mention all the tools you could possibly need to get the job done. Say if you're starting a major project, adding the finishing touches, or just doing some repair or rental work around the house. FYP, the Paint Center, and Tile King can help. Stop by or call 601-8453. Located 69 Wolf Road, Nassau. You can find it all at Builders Mall. Building, painting, and tiling, the Bahamas.
Throughout our lifetime, we must all make decisions. No matter how we choose, the right one just needs to be made. Like having J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers as your insurance partner. We've been serving the Bahamas for over 100 years. Whether you need home, motor, marine, or commercial insurance, make the right decision. Call 397-2100 or visit jsjohnson.com.
JS Johnson Insurance. Peace of mind.
Honey, everything okay?
Everything's fine.
Shop online for free in-store pickup in 2 hours or less.
Hundreds of Bahamians who did not want to deal with the overcrowding or parking issues on Bay Street took full advantage of Fusion Watch Party experience during the Boxing Day and New Year's Day Junkanoo parades. Here's LaDon Davis with more.
Between Boxing Day and New Year's, some 800 patrons got a chance to win phone cards, appliances, televisions, plane tickets, and hotel accommodations about an hour before watching their favorite Junkanoo group mash up Bay live on the big screen, courtesy of BTC, ZNS, and the Fusion Superplex. An excited Tori Sweeting says she couldn't wait to soak in the Fusion Junkanoo experience.
Expecting it to feel like a live action movie, if that makes sense. I want it to be exciting even though we don't get the rush of, standing up and doing it. I feel like it should be good.
Several winners and a few others who fell a bit short in capturing a prize or two on BTC Spin the Wheel say anything that is free is where Bahamians love to be.
And for my luck, I wish I'd have win something, but I didn't win anything. They say try again. So my team, I hope my team win on Bay Street. I'm a Saxon, so I'm pulling for Saxon. So probably they might have some other things in there. Like the last time they had ticket underneath the seat. So I was lucky to win something Boxing Day.
$10 ticket, but I appreciate it.
Fusion CEO Carlos Folks was excited to see Bahamians take full advantage of the watch party vision.
Persons have different likes, different tastes, and there's going to be a lot of people downtown and a lot of people here. So I think Junkanoo is large enough to accommodate both. All right, and BTC and ZNS, our partners, I think they had the right idea here.
BTC and Fusion officials say the first Junkanoo watch party experience was quite successful, with more than 3 packed theaters and 1,500 reservations made for Boxing Day and 1,000 reservations made for New Year's. Both entities remain hopeful that those numbers will get even higher for the next Junkanoo watch party in December. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm LaDon Davis.
Well, a lot of fun down there at Fusion. And as we head to the break, we'd like to thank all of our viewers watching us live on our social media platforms. And just in case you missed the news, be sure to head there to catch up. There's more after this.
NBA League Pass is the coolest way to watch the hottest game there is. When threes rain down and superstars heat up. When clutch jumpers splash and your team is fire. You'll be there for up to 40 games a week, any way you want to watch. NBA League Pass. Order now.
Join up for life insurance. Secure the ones that you love. Join up with Family Guardian. We offer full protection. Join the family. Join the family. Family Guardian. Protect the ones you love. A friend that you can trust. Family Guardian.
Shell Unleaded improves your fuel economy, giving increased miles per gallon, allowing you to do more of what you really want. Special additives used in Shell Unleaded improve your engine's efficiency. So go further with Shell Unleaded. Venture out to beaches, Junkanoo, and festivals and bring home memories that will last a lifetime. Shell, fueling journeys that matter.
Trimley police questioning a 22-year-old male resident of Alice Town in connection with a shooting incident that happened shortly after 11 o'clock last night. Authorities confirmed that a 25-year-old male victim of Kings Highway was at a local nightclub in Alice Town when he was shot to the face by a man he knew. Now the victim is now receiving treatment in hospital here in New Providence, where he's detained in serious condition. An investigation into this incident is underway. A family altercation in Long Island turns tragic. Police informing the media that a 61-year-old Bahamian male resident of Deadman's Key, Long Island, is currently in custody after he stabbed a family member to the upper body. The incident taking place shortly after 11:30 last night when Deadman's Key police learned about a domestic dispute between two brothers. The 58-year-old victim is now in hospital here in New Providence in serious condition. The suspect remains in custody and is assisting police with their investigation. About that time now for a check on Family Island weather temperatures. Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean joins us. Good evening, Basil. Happy New Year.
Good evening, Desmond, and Happy New Year to you as well. Clear skies outside of our studios. Temperature warm 79 degrees. Relative humidity at 72%. We have southeast winds at 13 miles per hour. The barometric pressure 1,020.1 millibars. That's 30.16 inches, and the pressure is falling. Temperatures around the Family Islands this evening, they are brought to you by Family Guardian Insurance Company. We're protecting you. 77s in Freeport, Grand Bahama, and Greentoll, Key, and Abaco. Marshall, Abaco at 79 degrees. To Berry Island, 78. Alistown, Bimini, 77 degrees, 78 in Harbor Island, Rock Sound, Eleuthera, Black Point, Exuma, and Camp Space at Andros. Fresh Creek in Central Andros at 79 degrees, 79s. Also in Outer Sound, Cat Island, San Salvador, Rum Key, and Georgetown, Exuma. 80s in Ragged Island, Clarence Town, Long Island, and Crooked Island. Betsy Bay, Make-One, 79. Ackland, 79. Matitown and Nagua, they have a temperature of 80 degrees, and the Turks and Caicos Islands at 77 degrees. And your boating forecast tonight is brought to you by Builders Mall, home of FYP, the Tile King, and the Paint Setter in the Northwestern Islands tonight through Wednesday, middle of the week. Southeasterly winds at 10 to 15 knots, and those wave heights 2 to 4 feet. Low tide occurs at 11:27 tonight with a high tide at 5:57 tomorrow morning in the Central and Southeastern Islands. Also through Wednesday, southeast winds, the speeds a little stronger at 12 to 18 knots, so we'll keep that caution flag in place for the Central and Southeastern Islands into Wednesday. Tide-wise, going to be high at we're going to expect those wave heights to be about 3 to 6 feet over the ocean, and that caution flag remaining in place. And then on Thursday, in the northwestern parts of the country, the winds become south to southwest. This is ahead of an advancing cold front. We'll tell you all the details later in the newscast. Wave heights 2 to 4 feet, high tide 6:37 in the morning with the low tide at 1:11 in the afternoon. For the Central and Southeastern Islands on Thursday, the winds fall off southeast at 10 to 15 knots, the wave height subsiding 2 to 4 feet. So we'll drop those caution flags on Thursday. That's going to do it for your boating forecast. It's time now for your international temperatures, and they are brought to you by Royal Star Assurance.
Stop the world. I want to get on. Stop the world and let me on. Tired of going round and round. I'll play the game of love and loss. You stop the world and let me on.
And that's going to do it for your international temperatures, brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. But stay tuned, your extended weather forecast is still ahead.
I'll play the game of love.
Want to have a sweet new year? Spend a minimum of $12 on any Hershey's Kisses or chocolate and take your receipt to Pritchard's on Robinson Road. You could win up to $2,500. There'll be 9 winners. Enter today.
Piper. 2022 saw us here at BTC turn the page and start a new chapter. New CEO Samir Bhatti took the helm, and ever since, he has hit the ground running. He has made it a priority to get on the ground and meet as many of our team members and customers across the country as possible, proving already that he is solutions-driven.
it's been a real adrenaline rush to get out to the Family Islands, for example, to meet the staff there, to work feverishly with the team here. I run a very open door policy, and it's go, go, go. So I would say it's an adrenaline rush. I'd also say it's been a very warm welcome, a warm embrace by the team here and the community. And I've enjoyed that very much. But I'm looking forward to giving back as much as I've received so far.
Mr. Body has a wonderful open door policy. He listened to our concerns, especially my concerns. And he hit the ground running. He's ready to go, and I feel like he's ready to take the company in a great direction.
2022 began an exciting transformational period for BTC, and we are looking forward to showing you what this transformation looks like, and more importantly, what it will mean for you. Happy holidays, everyone. I'm Corbell Pyfrom. Be well and be back here. Next, BTC Connection.
During 2022, Family Guardian was honored to provide tangible assistance to numerous Bahamian communities, organizations, and charities, including the Bahamas Kidney Association, Bahamas Humane Society, Bahamas Crisis Center, Stapleton School, Salvation Army School for the Blind, Nurses Association, Persis Rogers Home for the Aged, Grand Bahama Children's Home, 4D Stallions Track Club, Rhythm and Youth Rake and Scrape Band, Cancer Society of the Bahamas, Reach Out Youth Organization, Falcon Boys Club, Royal Bahamas Police Force Dependents Trust, PACE, Sister Breast Cancer Support Group, the Down Syndrome Center, Great Commission Ministries, and Every Child Counts Special Needs School. Our record of corporate giving speaks for itself, and our commitment to positively impact the communities where we work and live remains a foundational principle for our company. As the year draws to a close, we would like to say thank you to our clients and a Merry Christmas and a healthy, happy, and prosperous New Year to all from the management and staff of Family Guardian.
This is ZNS Total Sports.
Well, welcome to your Tuesday Sports, everyone. I'm Amajal Knowles, topping sports news. The Bahamas Senior Men's National Basketball Team is on the move up on a global scale after climbing 3 places to number 57 in the FIBA rankings presented by Nike. The Bahamas leapfrog Switzerland, Romania, and Denmark, and they are now 1 place behind regional rival, the U.S. Virgin Islands. The Bahamas has a score of 188.9 points, while USVI has a score of 192.5 at number 56. The national team rankings were based on the latest matches from the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 qualifiers November 2022 window. The Bahamas made history in the summer when it qualified for the second round of the FIBA Americas World Cup qualifiers. For the first time, the team won convincingly 97-80 over USVI to earn that qualification. The November window featured 2 nail-biting games that the Bahamas split. They were eliminated from qualifying for the FIBA World Cup. They fell short 80-76 to the 4th-ranked Argentina team at the Kendall G. Isaacs Gymnasium. In the August window, the Bahamas fell to Argentina 95-77 in an away game. In the first game, which was a home game against Venezuela, they fell 86-81. This window saw Bahamian NBA players Kai Jones and Buddy Hield playing together on the national team level for the first time. And speaking of Buddy buckets, Hield registering 19 points, going 7 of 11 from the field, along with 4 3-pointers and 5 rebounds and 4 assists in 30 minutes of action during Monday's 122-114 victory over the Toronto Raptors. The veteran wing continues to provide the Pacers with consistent offense and a dangerous threat from downtown. Hield has drained multiple 3-pointers in 16 straight games, averaging 19 points, 5 boards over that stretch, while shooting 52% from beyond the arc. The Pacers are 21-17 and currently sit 6th in the Eastern Conference. More from the association. Bahamian big man DeAndre Ayton and his Phoenix Suns continue to struggle, losing their 3rd straight game. This time in the Mecca of basketball, the Suns were dropped to the Knicks 102-83. Ayton racked up 12 points, going 6 of 13 from the field with 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal in 29 minutes of action. Ayton was the top scorer in the loss. Also
leading the team in shots made while finishing second on the team in rebounds. Ayton has tallied at least 10 points and 5 rebounds in 27 appearances this season. The Suns are now 20-18 and 8th in the West, a far cry from a month ago where they sat atop the Western Conference standings. They will try and right the ship against the Cavs tomorrow. After an 18-0 start to the season, the Chipola men's basketball team will start the new year on top of the NJCAA. In the first D1 men's basketball JUCO rankings of 2023 released on Monday, the Indians are ranked number 1, and 2 Bahamians are integral in their success thus far. Former junior national team standout Dayton Aubrey in 18 appearances, averaging 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists, while shooting 52% from the floor and 38% from 3. And former St. George's star Paul Green is averaging 9 points and just under 7 boards, shooting 47% in 18 appearances. On December 17th, the previous number 1 team, Salt Lake Community College, lost to the number 4 team. Also on that day, the Indians would defeat Enterprise State 97-34. Due to the Christmas holidays, the NJCAA did not publish its weekly rankings for 2 weeks, causing the Indians to wait until the new year to ascend to the top of the poll. Coach Donnie Tyndall's squad will face a tough test, though, in their first games, the top-ranked team. On Saturday, the Indians will host the defending national champions, Northwest Florida, in both teams' first Panhandle Conference game of the season. The Raiders are 14-4 on the season and are tied for 25th in the NJCAA rankings. The 18-0 start for the Indians is its best since 2012-2013. And rowing in the country continuing to grow by leaps and bounds, as evidenced by last week's workshop between the Nassau Rowing Club and Sparks Rowing Club. We spoke to one of the organizers and a pair of local rowers who hope that this trend can continue.
The ability to grow rowing as a sport here in the Bahamas is an absolute privilege, given the perfect conditions for rowing. And it's also, I think the sport needs more geographical base, and as a result, we're able to bring kids here from all over the U.S. and sometimes, there's staff here from England as well, and bring them into this environment to help grow this club, which is small but is definitely growing.
In the sport, I would love to get to the college level. It's a great opportunity. It's great development. In the U.S. in particular, they have great programs that overall turn you into better rowers. They produce multiple Olympians while it's still in college. So that's my goal.
I think for me, for one, I think it was great for them to figure out that we actually row in the Bahamas. A lot of them was interested in figuring out that we actually have a lake and we actually have oars and we have all these things that they have in the States. It was a really good relationship for them to figure out that there are rowers in the Bahamas and to see us and these other, to recognize us when they do see us on the scene in other places.
And that's We'll Look at Your Sports on this Tuesday. A check on weather when we return.
Michael, let me borrow your car, please.
Don, I tell you I have to get my car license.
How long I could take, man? Let's go there now.
Why do you need my car so bad?
It's old schoolmate, man. She'll meet up for lunch.
Well, I hope she's taking you somewhere nice because you know we ain't easily impressed.
You can pay for your license and inspections online now. They'll confirm your inspection appointment and bring the decal to your car.
I'm impressed.
This Christmas season, stream with faster speeds. The unforgettable things we all have to see. Share every memory. Link up for Christmas. Link up with BTC. We are family.
BTC will make this festive season fun and fast with BTC's fiber internet. Sign up and BTC will give you 1 month free or go postpaid and get unlimited Facebook and WhatsApp.
Link up for Christmas. Link up with BTC.
Make your company representative stand out through an embroidery design on your uniforms from Janae's Uniform Center, Chesapeake Road. Janae's utilizes the latest state-of-the-art embroidery technology to monogram large and small quantities of shirts, caps, bags, and other articles. If you don't already have a digitized logo, Janae's can design and digitize your idea and bring it to life. Then install the logo of your choice from their large selections of 27 stock colors of golf shirts in cotton or dry fit, caps, or workwear. Call 394-8385 or 6 or visit www.janae's.com.
Last Thanksgiving, immediate response went on the road to the Big Apple, New York City. Then, months later, we went to Houston, and now we're going on the road with immediate response to Atlanta, a major economic and cultural center with internationally famous businesses like Coca-Cola and CNN, along with professional sporting teams like the Atlanta Falcons, the Atlanta Hawks, and the Braves too.
Join me, the Bishop of Motivation, Spence Finlayson, as I interview outstanding, high-profile, and celebrated Bahamians in Atlanta.
Call your account executive or the ZNS sales department today to place your ads for 2 groundbreaking broadcasts from Atlanta, Georgia, live on the ZNS television and radio network. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better.
We play just like your kids. We text just like your kids. We learn. We even cook. We take selfies. We have hobbies. And we love sports. In every way, we are just like everyone else and enjoy the same things and live our lives every day, just like you do. So if you happen to meet us, treat us just like everyone else. Because at the end of the day, we're just like you. Living life with Down syndrome is simply living. To learn more about Down syndrome, call 727-2105. This message is brought to you by the Grand Bahama Down Syndrome Society.
Time now for weather.
And our final look at weather, high pressure remain anchored across the Bahamas, but that will begin to back off towards the east, allow for this front boundary, which is currently approaching the southern United States. That will continue to push towards the south and east. We expect it in the northwest Bahamas on Friday, and it should push through the capital by Friday afternoon. Behind that, we expect a nice little cool down to take place. Tonight, though, we're going in for partly cloudy, a bit on the warm side, with the low temperature just around 71 degrees. And tomorrow it's going to be partly sunny, quite pleasant, high temperature of 82 degrees. And the extended weather forecast, beautiful weather right through Thursday. Front system comes in on Friday, brings with it some showers along the front boundary. Behind that, we will see those temperatures dropping. Nighttime temperatures getting into the mid to upper 60s on the weekend. Desmond?
Thanks much, Basil. That does it for the Bahamas tonight. Thank you for continuing to make ZNS your first choice for news and information. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better than ZNS. From all of us here, have a good night. Thanks so much for watching.
Greetings, my fellow Bahamians and the wonderful residents of Elizabeth. As we pause this Christmas season to reflect on the birth of a child in a humble manger in Bethlehem many years ago, we recall the words written in Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government will be upon his shoulder, and his name will be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, and Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Christmas is a time for thanking God for giving us his son. Born into a poor and humble family, it was the modest shepherds who first witnessed this joyous event and gave him praise. The story of Christ's birth, adult life, and ministry teaches us the values of humility and service. He gave us a perfect example of the kingdom he visualized for all. This coming July, our nation will celebrate its 50th anniversary of independence. Like Christmas, it will be a time of reflection, the birth of our Savior, and the celebration of the birth of our nation gives everyone a chance to contemplate the future. As the Minister of Transport and Housing, I am grateful for the support of all the team members. In the past few months, my ministry has taken efforts to empower Bahamians by efforts to end the illegal practice of the leasing or renting of taxi and livery plates and reopening the Surrey industry. I am delighted that several Bahamian families will be able to spend their first Christmas in their own homes. These families include persons who have given humble and valued service to our nation: police, prison, and defense force officers, teachers, and nurses. As the Member of Parliament for the Elizabeth constituency, my team and I have sought to positively impact the lives of constituents. We have taken steps to promote education through the introduction of the Elizabeth Training Institute and the Literacy Empowerment for Academic Proficiency program. We've continued our support and outreach services through job placement, Free Friday breakfast, and food voucher initiatives, and hosted numerous community and family-oriented events. We continue to focus on creating safe and clean spaces through several cleanup initiatives and purchased a playground set for the Thelma Gibson Preschool. I acknowledge there remains more work to be done at the national and constituency levels. I therefore wish to assure Bahamians of my commitment to humble service. In the year ahead, I hope you will have time to pause for quiet moments of reflection. The Christmas message teaches us the value of humble service and shows us that love is for everyone. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous New Year.
Colon cancer is the third most common cancer affecting Bahamians. Your risk of developing colon cancer is increased if you have a personal history of colorectal cancer or colon polyps, a family history of colon cancer, or inflammatory bowel diseases such as ulcerative colitis. Other factors that can increase your risk of developing colon cancer are low fiber, high fat diets, a sedentary lifestyle, obesity, smoking, and alcohol. You can take steps to reduce your risk of colon cancer by making specific lifestyle changes. Eat a variety of fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. These foods contain fiber, minerals, vitamins, and antioxidants, which may play a role in cancer prevention. Drink alcohol in moderation or not at all. Do not smoke. Exercise with a goal of getting in at least 30 minutes each day. If you've been inactive, start slowly and gradually build up to 30 minutes. Also, talk to your